look, nobody was talking about the Arizona Cardinals tanking until Colt McCoy was let go. We were talking about this just...
It's the weirdest thing.
It's amazing.
Colt McCoy is a good dude. He's done a lot for this organization, but you cannot look at this team and did everybody think they were contending for a playoff spot? Then they let Colt McCoy go, and they're like, well, I guess they're trying to lose.
I love Colt, and I respect him greatly, but I just don't understand that narrative. The national media jumped on board and is parroting this narrative that the Cardinals are tanking. And you know what? I just don't understand why they're conflating that.
I don't know if it's just like a terminology thing where some people say tank and they mean rebuild. I mean, I do think one of the biggest...
Maybe that's what it is.
You've got to be honest with yourself as a team, as a GM. I mean, you have to. You got to look in the mirror and be like, we need to get rid of this. We need to keep this.
Yes.
But that is completely different in my mind than, all right, let's go out there and lose. And we're all going to lose our jobs for a bunch of rookies. They're going to take them next year because we had a higher draft pick.
Look, you have to just go ahead and juxtapose the coaches that were here prior to JG. Juxtapose that. The system, the schemes that were being run. Think how night and day opposite they are. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons why they went out and they hired JG. He was a defensive-minded head coach. He wasn't an offensive-minded head coach like they already had. Once again, and I'm just saying, you have to, when you run what Cliff Kingsbury was running here, and I say that with regard because I still think he's a brilliant offensive mind. I really do. He sabotaged himself, in my opinion, and I'd love to talk to Cliff about that very thing. I kid you not. I wonder if he's learned a lesson in regard to being disciplined. If he ever gets back to being a head coach, whether it's at the college level or of course, the NFL. Whatever level it's at, to me, I wonder if he's going to be different when it comes to the discipline. I wonder if he's going to take,
one of the biggest things he learned, yeah.
Okay, so once again, but when you juxtapose these two regimes, they are night and day different, which means you're going to rebuild. And are the Cardinals rebuilding? In my mind, this is my opinion, just mine, there's no doubt they are.
Well, just to say that and compare it, just listen to this.
Well, it's pretty boy football. It don't allow the defense to play physical like the game was meant to be.
The ball is going to kick off, and you got to go execute and play violent and play with great effort and be smart, and that's what the game comes down to.
I mean, that's what it is, right? Look, I don't love all the moves they've made. I would have liked to have kept Byron Murphy. I understand Zach Allen, they were probably priced out of, but I think they could have kept Byron Murphy. But the moves they're making are not to try to lose. The moves they're making are to start over in a lot of ways. Losing is a part of that. But it's an unintentional part of it. That's the difference for me.
Yes.
I don't think they're going into the season and be like, we got to get the number 1 and number 2 picks.
I know.
I think they are just stripping it down, and you're probably going to get 2 top 3 or 4 picks because of it.
Are they building a brand new culture and a brand new way of doing things? Yes. Does this make teams do things like reset their salary cap? Yes. Let players walk away that aren't good fits for the culture? Yes. And do they favor young guys over old guys? Yes. When you have two disparate ways of playing the game of football, this is what you get.
This had to happen.
It had to happen.
And I feel like 99% of Cardinals fans were not only saying that at the end of last year, but would absolutely agree with it now. This had to happen. The alternative is, all right, let's just kind of go between 5-11 and 7-10 every year and never really get better and just, and then you just kind of disappear into that NFL oblivion, and you're one of those teams. You don't take criticism for tanking, but you're one of those, we can think of some of those teams, and we see them around the league, but you got to think hard because you forget about them, that are just, you haven't seen them in the playoffs in a while, but they haven't picked in the top 3 or 4. They're just kind of there, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be one of those teams.
Yeah, how does the narrative that the Cardinals are tanking solidify because they let a 37-year-old backup quarterback go, whom I love and respect and thought was going to be the starter week 1? but would admit it's not like Colt McCoy was going to be the team, the quarterback you were going to build your team around.
It is weird that that's when nobody seemed to think they were going to be good, but this week the narrative seems to have flipped to they're tanking. And maybe it's somebody else that they waived. Who?
I don't know.
It's clearly been since they moved on from Colt McCoy.